By now, I think most people know that the Absolute Universe was created by Darkseid. It's a place that bends towards malice and cruelty and is intended to provide commentary on the injustices of our own world. But just because it's an awful place, that doesn't mean that there's no light in the darkness. Take for instance Wonder Woman. She's an inspiring symbol of hope, someone that the people can't help but love, despite her horrible upbringing. As an infant, the gods cast her into hell to be raised by the witch Circe, but rather than letting this corrupt her, she inspired everyone she met. Supported by the goddesses of the Greek pantheon, they trained Diana to become the hero she needed to be, and when she escaped from hell, she immediately got to work defending Gateway City from demons, mechanical spiders, and most recently Giganta. She knows that the balance of the world is off, and will do everything in her power to correct that. But while Diana had been embraced by the masses, the elites of the world were not so enamoured. Diana unknowingly made an enemy of Veronica Cale, the director of the government's Area 41. This is the department responsible for dealing with myths and mysticism. Knowing that killing Diana would only make her a martyr, Cale initially tried to control Wonder Woman, and when that failed, she decided to defame her. Senate hearings into her began, and a museum gala celebrating Amazonian culture was gatecrashed by Cale's The Suicide Squad. And of course, Cale's plan failed, spectacularly so, because the Suicide Squad were prisoners and many of them had no desire to hurt Diana. One member is Zatanna Zatara, a fellow witch, who siphoned Diana's powers to free herself from Cale's control. She then had the cheek to ask Diana to help her free her father, Giovanni Zatara, from Cale. Under her influence, Zatara had become a ruthless flaming skeleton driven mad by blood magic. While the situation seemed hopeless, Diana found a way to release him from his curse and reunited their broken family. Cale refused to accept this outcome though, and unleashed her secret weapon, the Iron Maiden, a mechanical torture device that had imprisoned the Zataras. The last issue ended with Diana charging into battle without hesitation, and that's pretty much where this issue picks up. Diana willingly distracts the Iron Maiden to allow the Zataras to teleport away. She saves them from being dragged under Cale's control again, but Cale is fully prepared to cut her losses and shift focus to Diana. She orders the Iron Maiden to do everything it can to capture Diana instead. Based on how things have gone in earlier issues, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Diana would make mincemeat out of the Iron Maiden, but surprisingly, there's little she can do to combat it. She tried to use her magic to weaken it, but notes its similarity to a Hydra, in that if she takes out one arm, another forms to take its place. This demonstrates how the machine was able to subdue someone as powerful as Giovanni Zatara. Despite her best efforts, the Iron Maiden is victorious, and it takes Diana to Area 41, where Cale and her cronies delight in experimenting on her. And you can really see the glee in Cale's team's face as they get to work on overcoming Diana's defenses. They note that traditional means of extracting DNA samples won't work. She's too strong for that. So Cale gets creative, using a laser to slice through her skin. Diana heals almost immediately, but it's enough time for Cale to get a blood sample and send it over to her technicians, who will get to work on figuring out exactly how Diana works and devise some effective countermeasures. Diana is pretty much helpless here. Anytime she tries to cast a spell or request aid from Hecate, she gets zapped with a powerful weapon. To add to the humiliation, Cale orders that Barbara Minerva, who is also her prisoner, must be transferred to a new cell and make sure that she sees Diana on the way. Cale had intended to turn the world against Diana, but it looks like she's going to have to settle for disheartening her biggest supporter. There's an added cruelty here because she wants Minerva to share a cell with the Cheetah's corpse. And as we all know, Barbara Minerva is the Cheetah in the mainline universe, so I think we can consider this to be a bit of foreshadowing. But this also serves the purpose of letting Diana know that Cale has her friend and is going to do terrible things to her. If you're loving this comic run so far, take a quick second to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and it makes sure you won't miss any of our upcoming breakdowns. Now, back to the story. Now, at this point, everything might seem hopeless, but remember what I said about how the goddesses of Olympus were rooting for Diana? Well, there's a brief interlude where we're shown Hades and his wife Persephone. Hopefully you recall, back in issue 7, Diana completed a challenge from Hades to earn her freedom from the underworld, but there was a condition. In the myth of Persephone, she had swallowed pomegranate seeds that allowed her to return to the surface for half the year, which was an explanation for how we get our seasons. Now, Hades is a vengeful god in this universe, and part of the deal was that Diana was banished from the underworld and could never see Circe again. However, sneaky old Persephone had fed Diana one of the pomegranate seeds, which meant that she could return for 1 month per year. Hades was not happy about this betrayal, but when we check in on the couple, we can see that he is less angry and more sad. His experience with Diana had made him undergo a little bit of introspection, and he realizes that he is a bad man. He notes that he had the chance to free Persephone long ago, but refused to take it because he feared she would leave him. But the paradox is that in shackling her to him for half the year, removing her ability to choose her own fate, he guaranteed that she would never love him. However, she offers him a chance to make things right. He knows why the goddesses are helping Diana, and she wants him to defy Zeus and aid them. Persephone notes that there is something fundamentally wrong with the universe. It is out of balance and skews towards evil and malice. And it would make sense that Persephone might feel this imbalance, much like Gaia had, given her association with the earth. The threat that Diana is going to face will be a threat to the gods too, and they would be better off working together. And with that, Hades gives in. Unfortunately, he couldn't have picked a worse time to grow a conscience. He invokes his right to Diana, pulling her back to the underworld. Yes, technically this frees her, but it does absolutely nothing about the situation she was caught in. As frustrating as this is for Cale, there go her plans to fully study Wonder Woman. Diana is distraught. She's now trapped in the underworld for a whole month, powerless to do anything to help Barbara or stop Cale. And this really gets to the core of Diana's character. You can't hurt her through traditional means. The way to break her is by hurting others. Cale may not consciously be aware of this, but she seizes the opportunity to do further damage to Barbara and Diana's friendship by showing Barbara a still image of Diana being dragged away. She presents it as Diana casting a spell to escape, choosing to leave Barbara behind to fend for herself. While Barbara says nothing, her shocked expression implies that she might believe Cale. However, it is worth noting that when Diana was first dragged back to the underworld, Barbara was present and saw Hades' hand come out of the ground. She could recognize what has happened, although that image is a bit washed out, so it's hard to see what's going on. And remember that Barbara already felt abandoned after Diana fled from Zatara a few issues back. So yeah, she's feeling vulnerable and isolated, and Cale plans to prey on that. After all, the best lies are ones that contain elements of truth. So while Cale presents this as Diana fleeing and abandoning her friend, in reality it's far worse than that. Persephone and Hades thought they were doing the right thing, but their actions may potentially have damned Barbara, which is the worst thing you could do to an empathetic person like Diana. And I'm reminded of something Diana always says when casting powerful spells. Magic always has a price. And in this case, it may very well have been Barbara Minerva's soul. Do you want to read this comic for yourself? Well, check out the affiliate links in the description below. You can grab physical copies from Forbidden Planet or go digital via Amazon or Neon Ichiban. Clicking those links is a huge free way to help support what we do here. Special thanks to my channel members, the Back Issue Brigade. As well as getting a shout out in each video, they get to vote on a members only video. Current options are Paul Dini's Dark Knight, a true Batman story, The Long Halloween, Marvel's first run on the Ultimates, and a video about how Batman writers in the 1950s and 60s pinched ideas from the Blackhawks. If you want to cast your vote and see the video, join the channel now. Next time. Join us next week when we will be talking about Batman number 10 and Absolute Green Lantern number 15. Hope to see you then.